Chamberlain. I'm the founder of Resilient Life Technologies, and I'm proud to be partnering here in Oklahoma City with Two Structures Homes to kick off what we call our Homes of Intention initiative. You know, one of the things that we're all going to encounter in life at some point or another is the physical or cognitive challenges that are created by just natural aging, a medical condition of some kind, or a traumatic injury. The challenge becomes, in most cases, our homes are not configured appropriately to support us when life-changing events take place. So, we believe that through smart design, thoughtful construction, utilizing innovative technologies, energy efficiency, we can create better home environments that are more flexible and have the ability to adjust as our life changes, come to us. The goal here is to create an environment where our homeowners have the best possible quality of life for as long as possible in dealing with these challenges and maintaining their independence for as long as possible. Some people call it aging in place. Well, we're going to go in and look around a little bit, but one of the things I wanted to mention is the fact that this is this house does not scream accessibility, but there are things that we built into this house to make it more accessible, and we'll go through those in more detail. So why don't we go on inside and we can talk about some of the things that we've implemented in this home. Okay, so now we're in the entry of the home, and we're going to go through some of the rooms in more detail and talk about things. But let me kind of tell you what part of our thought process was. Number one is that we wanted to give a lot of thought to accessibility and the movement in the house. How we lay the house out such that from a functional standpoint, it's efficient as possible for people that don't have any issues, but it also for people with have a disability or some sort of physical challenge of some kind. So we thought about that. We also thought about entry into showers, entry into certain areas of the home. How do we make those accessible and less hazardous in the event that we have a homeowner that has a physical limitation of some kind? We did that. We also implemented what we call our baseline or level 1 technology, which is basically focused around safety. And we'll go through a little bit some of the other levels that we can do to accommodate a expansion of technology if it's appropriate and how we would implement that. And then also the other thing that we've done is that we've done some things with some of how we open cabinets or open drawers. We've done, the doorknobs are lever type versus doorknobs themselves, which we think is an important thing given the situation. So that's what we're going to talk about in more detail. Okay, we're now in the flex room, and we're going to talk more specifically about this room in a minute. But one of the things I wanted to mention was a personal experience I had. So about a year and a half ago, I had my left knee replaced, and when I was in the hospital, they gave me one of these. So I go home, and the first thing I do is, you might guess, I have to go to the bathroom, and I can't get through the door with this walker. It's too wide. So the home health people were about an hour behind me, so they came in and they said, "Oh, how you doing, Bob?" And I go, "Well, I got a problem." They go, "What's that?" And I said, "I can't get in the bathroom with that walker." So they looked at my walker, and I had the wheels on the outside of this walker. And they said, "All you got to do, Bob, is move those wheels to the inside and you can get in and out of there just fine." Well, that was accurate. So sometimes very small things can make a very big impact on how people function in a house when they have physical limitations. So anyway, just want to give you a quick story. Now we'll talk about this room. So as I mentioned, one of the things we want to try and do is we want to have doorways that are wide enough, 32 inches at a minimum. This one's a little wider to get the walker in and out. Now this room could be used two different ways. It could be used as an office, and if you come over here, you can see we've got a large closet. This could be a great closet if I had an office, but if I was a loved one that was using this as a bedroom, this would work real well for me because I can get in this closet, there's plenty of room in here, I can operate with my walker, and everything is fine. So the goal here is on this particular second room downstairs. Again, it's a flex room. It could be an office, but it also could be a bedroom for somebody that is being cared for and has appropriate room for them to function well, even if they have one of these. Now, this house in particular, we could probably support somebody very well up to a walker. If we started dealing in a wheelchair situation, there's going to be some issues with that. But certainly from a single person, a young couple with kids, a family that's caring for a family member that's got physical challenges, a senior couple or a senior couple living with physical challenges, or a senior living by themselves that people have concerns about their well-being, we could make this work. So now we're in the master bathroom, and I'm going to show you what we did in the shower. And again, this is going to be one of those accessible features that doesn't really register unless you really need it. So step number one is we create what we call a zero entry into the shower, which means there's no barrier or trip hazard to get into the shower. So the other thing that you can see, this is a pretty good sized room, so if I was in a walker or some other kind of device, I could probably function in here pretty well. We've also, at 36 inches, added blocking behind the wall, so if we had to add handrails, that would be an easy thing to do. We've also got an adjustable shower head here as well that we can move up and down depending upon the situation, and a large seat over here for someone to sit on. So we've created an environment that really is plenty of room, but also would support somebody with a disability or a challenge or somebody not. The goal here is that these are features that are accessible, but don't really look accessible. Okay, so one of the things we did in this house on this first floor is the flooring transitions are basically flat. So one of the things that we wanted to do, for example, here's a good example. Here, you step up, it's flush. So one of the other things that we want to make sure we do on this first floor is make sure that the flooring has little, if any, transitions. So that's a nice thing. Again, depending on the situation, if there are step ups or steps down, things of that nature, those are potential fall hazards. We want to make sure we don't do that. And again, for somebody like myself right now, it's not a big issue. But if I had my other knee done and needed the walker, it would be just a quick thing to mention. One of the things that we spoke about was having lever type door, handles. And so that's an important thing from a accessibility standpoint. Doorknobs tend to be problematic depending on the situation. Again, this is one of those things that we believe is an accessible issue, but doesn't appear to be so. The other thing I'm going to show you here is I'm going to walk this way, and this is the master closet, but one of the other things that we've done from a design standpoint is we've connected it to the laundry. So the objective here is that you can get clothes from the master into the laundry with very little effort. Quite often, but again, in the situation that requires minimized movement, this functions quite well. A couple things here. Again, from an accessibility standpoint, this is one of the things that works quite well is the pull type handling on cabinets wherever possible. So we've tried it in most cases to implement that. And again, it's another one of those transparent features that doesn't matter a great deal to some people, but if I have some limitations with my hand, that becomes a very important deal. The other thing we want to look at in this area, as you might guess, is, by the way, I don't want to have to use this I'm throwing this walker away because I don't like using it, but just to demonstrate. So you can walk, as you can see, I can walk through this kitchen area, and there is plenty of room on either side for me to function. So one of the other things that when we pay attention to the spacing, we want to make sure we have adequate space for someone, again, and this is kind of the worst case scenario with a walker, to be able to come in here and function quite well, turn around, being able to operate the systems in the home without a great deal of trouble. So that's the other thing that we did in this home. In addition to the floor transitions, we made sure there was adequate spacing so someone could function if they had one of these or other kind of limitation. Okay, let's talk for a minute about energy efficiency. One of the reasons I value my relationship with Two Structures Homes is by virtue of the fact that they build a quality home, and they are an Energy Star certified home builder, which means the ongoing utility costs for their homes are less. And so for people for long term, it costs Two Structures more to do it that way, but we believe and they believe that that's the right thing to do to minimize ongoing maintenance and support costs in their home. And so we think that has value. So one of the other reasons why we've chosen to do this is to utilize a builder that recognizes that that's not just the upfront cost, but the ongoing cost to maintain a home is something we need to pay attention to. And again, if I'm somebody living in the home with a limited income, anything I can do to minimize costs going forward is something worthwhile. So that's another reason why we believe energy efficiency is another part of the equation. Remember, we spoke about the flex room that could be used as an office or a bedroom for someone who's being cared for. The other part of being consistent in the design here was to make this second bathroom down zero entry on the shower as well. So that would support somebody that's healthy, but if somebody was in a walker or has some physical limitations, this would function quite well. So the idea here is on this first floor is to be consistent. So if we're dealing with someone with physical limitations, we have the the bedroom, we have the bathroom covered, and so it's an environment that would support them. There is one last thing I'd like to talk about, and that is if you are a senior in the Oklahoma City area that's contemplating building a new home, I believe we can help you. Some of the things we've talked about in the configuration of this home, I'm confident will extend someone's ability to live independently for an extended period of time. And so if you're thinking about building, we'd love to have a chance to speak with you. So if you would, at your convenience, assuming you're interested, give us a call, or you can call me, or you can get in contact with the sales team at Two Structures Home, and we can arrange an opportunity to sit down and talk through what your needs and requirements are to see if this solution might be of benefit. I thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll meet sometime.